true musical genius who needs no introduction.
Well, that was shitty. So then, let's talk about something that's not shitty. Milo Murphy's Law. You may be asking as to why I am reviewing another episode of this show whenever I haven't really done that with any other show. And I do actually have good reasons as to why I wanted to review Milo Murphy's Law again. I had been considering reviewing MML again after the reception was so positive on my first video. I mean, it was my most watched video at one point. The second reason is someone had requested that I review the show again. And lastly, the third, whereas I did still have a bit more to talk about in the show, Season 2 changing the structure of the show gave me even more to talk about. Of course, the structure of the show would change with the Phineas and Ferb crossover, the Phineas and Ferb effect, which, to be quite honest, I really didn't like. It's not that bad of an episode, but I do have a few problems with it. The main problem probably has to do with the premise, which is it being the second part to the season 1 finale. This is a problem because it kind of makes the episode mandatory to watch. It also increases the expectations if you enjoyed the season 1 finale, and it made you excited finding out Dr. Time was Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Personally, I'm not much of a fan of Phineas and Ferb, so in that regard, I wasn't all that excited with the crossover to begin with. But that doesn't change the fact that this episode decides the need, for whatever reason, to put the Phineas and Ferb characters in the foreground, or basically outshine the characters of MML. One time in the episode this happens, literally Baljeet takes over the lead singer of Chop Chop Away at My Heart whenever Zach tries to sing it. Doing this makes the episode either seem bitter towards MML, bitter that Phineas and Ferb is cancelled, or a mixture of both. This episode seems to really not be a fan of Milo Murphy's Law, but a major fan of Phineas and Ferb. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that this episode wasn't for fans of Milo Murphy's Law, but was used as a fan service towards Phineas and Ferb fans, although it still does feel very pandering to me. But speaking of Phineas and Ferb, a big reason as to why Season 2 of Milo Murphy's has changed is due to the fact that Dr. Doofenshmirtz has moved in with Milo, becoming a pretty high secondary character or even main character within the show now. We do have Perry the Platypus showing up every once in a while as well. This is a big deal because even though Dr. Doofenshmirtz was previously established, not only was it on another show, but it was as him being evil. In Milo Murphy's Law, Doofenshmirtz is now reformed, which made him a new character within the show, and adding in a new character, especially one that is going to take up a big part of the time, like Doofenshmirtz or Starlight Glimmer, is something that is very hard to do correctly. It actually took me quite some time to warm up to Starlight, as she just seemed to be taking up way too much time that could have been used on the characters that came before her, who could still use some development, but that's another show and video altogether. I suppose the question is, was adding Doofenshmirtz in the show a good idea, or was it just to pander to the Phineas and Ferb fans' nostalgia as the crossover did? I don't believe adding him in the show is pandering, as far as it being a good idea, of course, is debatable. However, I do feel as though had Phineas and Ferb never existed, they would still have added a character to fill the Dr. Time role. But today's episode we are looking at doesn't include Dr. Doofenshmirtz, besides a brief cameo to recap that he is still living with Milo. Today we will be looking at the episode after the Phineas and Ferb crossover special. This is Season 2, Episode 2, Snow Way Out. The episode starts out with Zach and Milo waiting at the bus stop whenever a giant snowball comes out of nowhere and chases them. Melissa then makes a bet with Bradley that Milo and Zach won't make it to school on time. Hold on, this sounds oddly familiar. The episode starts with Zach and 3 other kids waiting at the bus stop. Like how in about a minute into the episode, a metal pipe starts chasing them down. What? Melissa then bets with the other kids that Milo and Zach will make it to school on time. Because this episode is a rehash of season 1's first episode and that I reviewed, Going the Extra Milo. Only instead of most shows doing this because they ran out of ideas or they think they can improve an old idea, Milo Murphy's Law rehashes this premise on purpose and are fully aware and admit that they are doing this. The reason behind this is because Murphy's Law in the show up to this point has been unpredictable but always in a new way. This episode shows us that Murphy's Law can hit near identically. You could make the debate that because of this, I am reviewing the same episode twice, but I don't feel that way. For one, it's not exactly the same. Cavendish and Dakota are in this episode, and as mentioned before, we see a new way Murphy's Law can work, which expands on the show's premise. This does not mean the show has to ever reuse a plot again, and I really don't expect them to. The main reason I decided to review this episode in particular, other than it being in season 2, is because it is something that I haven't seen before. An episode wanting you to know that they reuse the same plot. The episode then continues with Milo and Zach being stuck within the snowball as it is still rolling into a Renaissance fair. They roll into the tent that a man is selling weapons and armory, and now the snowball has become much more dangerous, with swords sticking out of it. The snowball is thrown via catapult, and Milo and Zach are tossed out of it and now free. But so are the swords, in which fall down and near hit them. We then get a call back to Coyote Woods as the two are figuring out where to go next. The snowball then crash lands near them, breaking off a piece of ice, causing them to fly through the water similar to a jet ski. Diochi finds them a ferry boat once they finally stop. Zach gets the idea to use a grappling hook to be able to reach the boat. Whenever, oh my god, and I thought the wolf almost attacking Zach last time was bad enough. I think being eaten alive by Monstro is far worse. We then see Melissa, Bradley, and the rest of the kids make it to school. And much unlike last time, Melissa actually is starting to doubt Milo and Zach making it on time. She also begins to worry about them. And unfortunately, she was right for having her doubt because they actually do end up being late. Milo and Zach then make it out of the whale's mouth using an inner tube. Milo and Zach then slide up to Cavendish and Dakota. Oh wait, I forgot to talk about their plot. Basically, Cavendish and Dakota are both fired because of their failure to keep pistachios from going extinct, is all you need to know, really, without spoiling anything too big. Cavendish and Dakota tell Milo and Zach this once they ask to be taken back in time to make it on school in time. They originally say no because they are banned from time traveling, but Dakota finds the loophole that Milo and Zach haven't been banned. So, just like the episode ended last time, Milo and Zach make it to school on time, and Bradley loses the bet once again. Usually, this is the part of the video where I say thank you for watching and then play the outro. However, this video has a lot more meaning behind it than that. Because February 24th of last year, 2018, is whenever I uploaded my very first review on this channel. It was of the Star Wars The Force of Evil Season 3 episode, Lava Lake Beach. This makes this video my 1-year anniversary since I rebooted this YouTube channel. During this year, I had gained a fair amount of subscribers and support from people watching. With that said, I have to give a big thank you to anyone that has ever watched one of my videos. That includes the people that haven't seen my channel until this video. Your support does mean a lot and keeps me going. Here's to an amazing 2019 and anywhere going forward.